Hello, y'all. Welcome. Listen, I'm so excited about this message. I'm so excited because I believe whoever this message is for, it's going to resonate with you. If you've been praying, God, how long? If you've been waiting, this is an official part two to a video that I just put out about the fast pass. And I just have even more revelation about it. I borderline want to show y'all this in my car, but so much so I couldn't even wait until I got settled. I had to stop, pull over, and record this video for you all today. So if you've been praying, God, if you've been having this feeling, and I feel like whenever you're being connected to this video, this is going to be accurate if it's for you. So if you've been having a feeling that you're on the brink of something, that God is moving you forward, that you're transitioning, there are times where we are like static and stable. Even in Proverbs, I'm trying not to jump into a message, but even in Proverbs, when it says, go to the ant, you sluggard, who having no overseer knows how to basically rightly divide their time. Ants know when it's seed time, when it's harvest. Many of you know that you're on the brink of a harvest, and that's who I'm speaking to. That's who this message is for. Y'all don't go anywhere. I'm going to take like a short break. I'm coming back with this word. It's like part two of that fast pass. It will happen fast. All right. So it will happen fast. That's what I've been hearing. As soon as I got up this morning, as I was in my prayer time, and I was thinking, like, I just did a message on that. The fast pass it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast, but there was a break in it. It's going to happen fast. Many of you have been feeling called to fast. Many of you have been connecting and getting confirmations around fasting. And I want to encourage you today about that, because fasting is not about manipulating God's hand or making things happen. And we hear that more. But truly, truly, as believers, it is fasting opens you up to so much. And we see throughout the Bible so many times when people were on the brink of breakthrough, when they were on the brink of tragedy, when they were in fear, many things, they use fasting as just a tool in our toolkit. And I think about Esther all the time. Esther said, look, y'all, this is serious. There was a threat on their life. And Esther did not say, all right, guys, so let's just, sit around and cry about it. She didn't say, all right, guys, I'm going to see what happens. Let's just cross our fingers. Esther said, look, get the word out. I don't want to hear about nobody eating. I don't want to hear about nobody drinking. Put the plate down. It's time to consecrate ourselves. It's time to fast because the lives are at stake. Another blueprint that I think about is Daniel. Daniel, we hear the Daniel fast a lot. There were two incidents that are highlighted, and actually more, but Daniel was not playing. Whenever he knew that something was at stake, he knew his ordained purpose. Daniel had no problem refusing. Everyone else is eating the king's delicacies. Daniel was like, nah, this is what I'm sticking to. He was trusting God. And I think about the time, and I need to find that exact verse. So I'll put it in the comments when I get it, where the angel said, look, I heard your prayers were heard. God heard you, but I was warring to get to you. And some of you, when I used that fast past example, fast pass, like PASS, there is like a delay that many people have faced. And it's not that God didn't hear you. In fact, Isaiah 54 that I talked about before, where he says, I turned away, but it was just for a moment. Your restoration, your redemption is here. Not it's coming in the sweet by and by. It's here. And that's what the fast pass was talking about. That's what, when the angel, I was thinking about that, where the angel said, man, I had to fight to get here. So much like that. Oh, someone walked behind my car. I'm like, wait. But much like that, with Daniel, that delay, many of us have faced that. And this is why this fast pass is so special, y'all. It will happen fast because the delay that has come, again, go back and listen to part one of this. You're going to reap. You're going to reap. And I believe I read from Psalm 126, but today I'm going to read from Matthew 6. And it says, woo, Y'all, I want to read this whole chapter. Matthew 6, y'all know I'm always quoting 6:33 is like, you know how people say something is their jam, that's their song. Y'all, Matthew 6 is my jam. But Matthew 6:16 says, moreover, when you fast, do not be like the hypocrites with a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces so they may appear to men to be fasting. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head, wash your face, so that you will not appear to men to be fasting, but know your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Don't be like these hypocrites with this sad countenance. Y'all, when I tell you, I don't even have time anymore for people who are about that struggle life and they're trying to put it on God. Get your mind off of, I don't know, being able to feed your children is what it comes down to. Being like having needs that need to be met is not catching God off guard. Having a desire for marriage, having a desire for fruitfulness, it is not catching God off guard. In fact, Jesus said, don't even be walking around when it comes to your fasting with this sad countenance. Where there are people out here that are saying, again, I go back to this is the last days. Y'all need to be, no, if this, like knowing that, and whether you are seeing revelation that we're living in the last days or not, our lives are going to end, point blank, period. You've seen it time and time again. So your call is to walk out this purpose that God has given you, like every day is your last. Like every day we're showing up, and knowing that God literally says he will reward you openly when you're in this secret place. And I know I kind of went on a tangent, but I wanted to emphasize that because I'm so tired of us giving so many people power over God's word, giving so many people the power to have you out here scared, the power to have you living every day in fear, the power to have you thinking that you need to be living, I guess, in a cardboard box and not being fruitful with your time here on earth. When God said, take care of the widows and the orphans, he said, whatever you've done to the least of them, you've done to me. How can you help them if you don't have it? I think about that so much when we think about faith without works is dead, and they use the example, I believe it was Paul that said, don't quote me, I'm like I'm thinking of so many things right now, but where he said, how many of you are telling basically someone who's cold, all right, I'm gonna pray for you. No, go get them a coat. And you can't go get someone a coat if you don't have a coat, or you don't have access to funds, if you don't have access to a mindset to do it. And by mindset, I mean, if you over here balled up in a corner crying, how are you going to help someone else? How are you going to pour out the oil of joy on those who are mourning, Isaiah 61, if you are in the street struggling? So y'all, I'm telling you, God is going to be rewarding so many of you openly. And I use the example of the fast pass of getting rejected on that road. I was on a road trip. They told us, no, fam. Like, y'all, you can't just come in here and get this fast pass really quick. There's a process and all these things. And we were just passing through this state, so it wasn't worth the time. So many of you, that your fast pass, all of the instructions that we were given at that example is what you've been doing. You've been seeking God. You've been trusting him. And I love that when Jesus says this, he doesn't say, so if you decide to fast, or if you get teamed up with someone who's fast, no, he said, when you do it, it's an expectation. Like he talks about, read all of Matthew 6, y'all, when you get time. When you pray, like it's an expectation. This is a lifestyle of doing these things. And so my encouragement to you is in that faith, that level of faith that you're having right now, and that I hope I'm just encouraging you in and imparting this on you. When you have this level of faith, it will happen. That's that first part. Because I put out, it will happen fast, or it's going to happen fast. No, it will happen. That's the faith, the substance of things that are hoped for, and the evidence of things unseen. You don't see it. That's faith. But now fast. It will happen fast. When you fast, God, who sees you secretly, is about to reward many of you openly if this word is confirming to you. Now, granted, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. Seek God for what kind of fast, how you're going to fast, all of those things. But I feel like for many of you, this is confirmation. It's been on your heart to fast. You've been seeing it. You've been getting confirmation. You've been thinking it, but you just can't quite put that plate down. I'm telling you, anoint yourself, wash your face. Don't walk around with this sad countenance. Fast. And There are so many things. I like to look at patterns, like where people will say, well, when you say test the spirit by the spirit, what the Bible was talking about, you're taking it out of context, because it was talking about, recognizing the Antichrist. Or when you say, write the vision and make it plain, you're taking it out of context. You may be taking it out of context in the sense that it's not exactly within the context of the statements that were originally written, but God's word does not return void. He literally says in his word, don't turn from it, meditate on it day and night. And it gives us a glimpse into God's character. So if God is saying test the spirit by the spirit, this is just an example to know if their spirit is of him. And even when Jesus said, how can a house be divided? Like if I'm of how they were trying to blame him of being of the enemy, I can't do both, So when I think about that, it shows me also the patterns of God. And so my point for this to you all is that when we're seeing these things and we're seeing God's promises, yes, it may be specifically at that point when the children of Israel, they were on the banks of the Jordan, and somebody is telling you right now, sis, you ain't on the bank of the Jordan. So that verse is out of context. Well, the same God, says the Bible, that nothing new is under the sun. The same God that did those things then is alive and well today. So when we're seeing that, how God showed up for others, how God was able to do things suddenly, how things were happening fast, how Jesus spoke the word over his situations, we have access to that today. Same. And so that's why definitely that's why I think it's so important that we study the word for ourselves, and you don't just rely on me or anyone to tell you what God is speaking or to tell you how to understand these things, because you'll see, I don't even want to give too much like energy and effort to that, but I'm just encouraging you all today to just speak the word over your life and know that it will happen. And that's what I was speaking about, like that faith. When you have that faith that it will happen, fast. There's so much and the reason again I was getting into that is because when we see the patterns in the word of how God has revealed so much through fasting, when we hear a whole angel saying, look, I was trying to get to you, Daniel, when he was in a fast, when we see that the lives were threatened of Esther's whole, not just her lineage, her family, imagine your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your siblings, she didn't have siblings, but whatever, like all of their lives were at stake. And so when we understand that fasting gave her the boldness, the clarity, the courage to go out and wait for the king to hold out his scepter. When we think about even Elijah, when he was fasting and he was by the brook, he was scared. Like some of these instances, it's so amazing to me because many of them were fasting literally in mourning, which is why Jesus had to make it clear, like, don't be going around with this sad countenance. They just couldn't eat. Like they couldn't eat because what was at stake was so big. And when I'm talking to you all today, it's not just about these temporary things. Like now I do understand that we're not storing up treasures on this earth. It's so much bigger, but you can't even sow those seeds. Again, when Jesus said, whatever you've done to the least of them, you've done to me. We can't do anything for the least of them if we're in our own corners of this earth, jacked up, sad, depressed, looking to the left, looking to the right, on the struggle bus, believing that God can't come through. We can't. It's so hard to show up for other people when you're not showing up for yourself. So I'm going to wrap this, but y'all, I'm so excited. I wanted to encourage you all today. It will happen. Point blank, period. How do I know? Because I know that without faith, it's impossible to please God, because I know that we are children of the Most High. Like it will happen fast. And you can take that both ways. It's going to happen fast for many of you, faster than you ever believed. You were in that delay, and now you have that fast pass because you've sown. You did those things on time. You were obedient on time, and God can elevate things in a moment. And even thinking about Esther, her preparation season, she could have been thinking, by the time my 12 months get up, someone else is going to have the spot. Someone else is going to be the queen, right? But her elevation came just like that, because she had gone through that preparation. She was prepared for her fast pass. So many of you, get ready, be prepared when you fast, not if, when you fast, Jesus said. Wash your face, anoint yourself, because I'm telling y'all, that reward, our Father, he sees you secretly. That secret fasting, that turning over your plate, not doing it to go shout out everyone and tell everyone, well, I'm fasting today. No, God who sees you in secret. And it was many of things. It even talked about when you do your charitable deeds, being a go-giver. God sees it. He's going to reward you openly. Like, whoo, y'all, it's so hard. It's so hard to wrap this message right now, because this is one of those, I would be rocking, but my phone isn't on a stand, so it will fall over while I just hopped on this word. But I hope this encourages you all today. I hope that this, for those of you that is confirming to you, and for many of you, it just depends on when you see this message and when God is speaking it to you. But wherever you're at, read Matthew 6 for yourself, because Jesus literally, again, gives us the pattern. Not will you pray, when you pray. So we know prayer, we know fasting. He even lays out how to pray. We know that being a go-giver, being charitable, all of those things are open doors to God rewarding us openly. And for many of you, you're not even going to be concerned about the reward, because it's just going to come so seamless. I'm so excited, because I know it's going to come so seamless for you all. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to share a testimony to you all. So just check out the next, y'all. So many things are coming, but I'm going to give you an exact example of a time where God rewarded me openly, and believing in the it will happen, fast. Like, it will happen fast. Whew. So that's my message for you all. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this. If this encouraged you, tell someone, tag someone. You can stay connected with me across social media. If you aren't connected with me on IG, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, if you use it. I don't, so don't follow me on Snapchat, because I haven't updated that in probably years. On Facebook, wherever I'm at, Erica Empowers, ERICA, Erica Empowers. So stay connected with me. And as I'm always telling you, go out and make today amazing, because it's absolutely a choice. Y'all take care.